Rhett, will Sean have a more expanded passing role this week?
Will he have a more expanded passing role? He wasn't limited last week. I mean, he'll do whatever the game plan calls for.
How's he been now that he's got a game under his belt? What have you seen out of him this week in practice?
You know, he's done fine this week in practice. I think, you know, for that not only being his first start, but being his first collegiate snaps, you know, he gave us a good shot in the arm a little bit and did some things really well. Obviously, the interception on the first drive, he'd love to have that one back. But he competed hard. He did a lot of things right as far as making the right reads, going the right places with the ball. He took some shots in the pocket and delivered the football on time. So he did some good things that he can build on. So for a first start, but obviously he'll be the first to tell you we got to win. And so that's where we're going to try to pick up with this week.
Did bad weather affect you guys today in practice?
Did it? No, no. We were outside for part of it, which is good. You need to be in the rain sometimes because everyone knows we could play in that at some point. But then, of course, we have a great indoor facility here, so that helps.
Better defense has taken the deep ball away from you a little bit more early on this year and making that a little bit more.
They have. They've done some things to, you know, try to make you earn it, and you know, that's just where we got to finish the drives. We had a lot of long drives last week. We didn't finish any of them, but at the same time, we've got to, as we've said, we've got to find a way to generate some explosive plays regardless of what they're doing.
Rhett, in the spring, on that note, you kind of mentioned that your goal for the offense was to have like 8 passes that were like 30-plus yards a game. But do you think that's still realistic to expect that to happen this season?
We haven't been doing it. Some of that is to how we've been played. Some of that's to how we've been playing. There's no question we got to make people defend the whole field better than we have been.
If Duke's facing double teams and you're not going to put a quarterback in the spot of throwing in that position, especially a new quarterback in that position, to throw into double coverage a lot, how do you figure get him the ball? If he's getting double teamed a lot and you're not going to put your quarterback in that spot to do it anyway.
What do you mean we're not going to put our quarterback in that spot?
I guess it said that because you have the quarterback change and redshirt freshman hasn't done a lot, naturally, sometimes you're going to have to throw in the double coverage.
Yeah.
But with someone who's less experienced may not be necessarily comfortable with doing that early on. If you're not going to put him in that spot, you're not going to throw to a guy who's being double covered a lot. How do you get him the ball?
Yeah, I think it's somewhere in the fact that obviously we have to get a little more creative and do some things to try to free him up. At the same time, there's a fine line between force feeding someone a football and putting them in a lot of the reads, but letting the read go through them, but that doesn't mean they're going to get the ball every time. We called plenty of plays for him. I think he had 4 catches. 3 of them late, we found a few ways to move him around and get him open into the double coverage. But you're right. Every time he was in certain spots, they were playing him differently than they were everybody else. And you know, you can't force the ball and turn it over just to get someone the ball. But at the same time, he's someone that we need to get the ball to. We know that, and we were able to do it some late. Obviously, we need to do it earlier. But at the end of the day, we got to run our offense and put him in position to get the football. But if sometimes he's not open, that means someone else should be.
Tempo is obviously something you guys are increasing. How important is it to be able to not substitute as much to be able to do some of those things down the line?
It's important. Something we've looked at trying to simplify some things. And I think we've done that so far this week. One thing we did not do well at all the first 3 games was having tempo. We had better tempo last game. Part of that was because we were staying on the field longer. We had almost 80 plays. We had more plays. We had more tempo. What we didn't do was finish drives. And so it all goes hand in hand.
What did you see out of Carry On last week, and do you anticipate him playing the same role or bigger role this week?
You know, Carry On, you know, like we were saying even in fall camp, the moment's not too big for him. Things are slow enough, and mentally he's picking everything up, that we gain more and more confidence every week with him. He's explosive. He made some really good plays, and he's going to continue to be a big part of what we do.
Any reason why we didn't see more of him in the second half?
No in particular, no.
So he's not hurt or anything?
No, he's good. And you know, Peyton was running the football really well there for a good clip. And you know, right now he's the guy that's proven from a ball security standpoint and just a toughness standpoint he can carry that load. That's not to say that Carry On couldn't, though.
Has the ankle injury been the sole reason why Javon hasn't been seen in the field very much?
A large part.
What do you think what do you foresee for him here in the future? Can he get involved and be a guy that is sharing carries with Peyton?
He definitely can get involved. You know, we've been playing the guys that have been earning it in practice. and that have obviously been the healthiest.
Brandon, you guys was talking a little bit about first down production, and you guys, play calling wise, it's about the same as it was the last 2 years, but the production really has dropped on first down.
Yeah.
What's your explanation for why that is?
Well, execution. You know, we've been in more second and 10, second and 15s. You know, the other night, you know, we had 2 penalties. One to start a drive after a sudden change turnover, and the other one in tempo. You can't do that. It's unacceptable. It puts you behind the chains, and now you're trying to catch up. And then it puts you, if you're not as good on first down, puts you in those situations. You want to make it third and manageable, but you also, you know, need explosive play. So P and 10, first and 10, you know, we've got to be a little more productive.
Is the production on third down also kind of go hand in hand with this, with the sub, the tempo? Because you were producing more on third, you were connecting passing-wise even more on third when it was obvious passing situations in the past. But this year with those struggles, if you don't convert for first, you can't get the matchup mismatches, you can't go tempo, you can't get production on first, because is that basically the chain of
It's a fair assessment that a lot of it goes together hand in hand. And we've had a lot of third and longs this year, and I don't mean just third and 7 to 10, I mean third and longs. You look at the Louisville game, you look at really the last few games, and some of that has to do with penalties. You know, the first game was holding penalties. Last game we put ourselves behind the chain a little bit, and some of it has to do with just we've got to stay out of some negative plays, and we've had more negative plays than we need to have, and not enough explosives.
I know Sean in the past, up until like maybe even a year ago, had been working with a quarterback coach, and obviously Gus would rather not be the case. Can you maybe just take me through that thought process from your end and the positives and negatives of having a quarterback coach involved? I
know Coach Mastroli down there, who worked with Sean growing up. He's a really good guy. He does a really good job coaching, and he understands that, you know, Sean came to college to play for Auburn, and a lot of coaches are this way. He's in our system doing things the way we would do it, you know, and that's just how we prefer it. Whenever he's done and it's time to try to go to that next level, we'd love for him to go work with someone like him that he's comfortable with. And he helped him a lot in high school and is a big part of why he's to this point. In college, you don't have a lot of time. There's not very many free weeks to go off somewhere and train anyways. And you want guys doing the exact things that you do in your offense. Fundamentally, there's a lot of different ways to do things. It's a lot of different good ways to do things, but you want them to do it your way and within your system, and you just don't want a lot of clutter. You just want one voice, and so that's just our philosophy. It's nothing negative towards anyone else.
Have you found through the years that not necessarily the traditional way these gurus go about doing things, but it's a lot different from what you guys try to do in teaching things?
No, you know, there's different guys. You know, some guys have played football and they've played the position, and so they probably are more functional. Some guys are trainers, nothing wrong with that, but at the end of the day, you know, we try to be specific to what we do, and that's just what we've had success with doing. There's a lot of good ones out there. There's probably some guys that aren't so good, but that's just kind of how we are.
Rhett, a third of the way through the regular season, how do you assess the play of the line?
The offensive line?
Yeah.
They've been okay. We've not been dominant. We've ran the ball decent, not great. And then, you know, we've got to do, in the last 2 games specifically, as a group, it's not just the line. Collectively, we've got to protect the passer better. And that goes from the line to the backs to the quarterback. That's everybody.
Rock Thomas, how's he doing this week?
He's good. Brock's hadn't missed a beat, yeah. So he should be good.
Great play Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
That offensive line, obviously, Austin gets a lot of talk because of a couple of
Yep.
snaps. But overall, how's he progressed? Because another guy that hasn't played that position until now.
He's gotten better physically, which is really good. Still mentally, he's pretty sharp. You know, he's just going to get better and better with time. And, you know, there's still a lot of room for improvement with him, but we're pleased with the track he's on. He just, like everybody else, we've just got to get better.
How tough is that transition period? Because people, I mean, in your offense, the center does a ton. I mean, how tough is that for a guy?
It's very tough. I mean, we've said it before that outside the quarterback, that's one of the most pivotal positions for what we do, and mentally and physically. So it's tough.
Was there ever a discussion, especially with LSU, because some of the snaps and then even last week with him, just possibly making it even a temporary change just to put Xavier in at any point?
Yeah, no. There's never been a discussion at changing, but obviously, you know, he's had a tendency at times to get a little hot and high to the right. And so that's something we've focused on heavy this week. but we have not discussed making a change.
Rhett, during preseason camp, you kind of dismissed any questions about people might have about Brock's durability. But here, 4 games of the season, he's been injured in 2 different games. At what point does it get worrisome that you maybe don't think he's durable?
Well, I don't know if I dismissed questions about his durability. I think I said, we felt better because he's put on some weight. Maybe I did, and if so, I'll stand corrected at some point. I'm sure you'll let me know. But we have been curious about how his durability would be, and so far he's continued to play. But yeah, I mean, durability until he can prove he can go for a stretch without getting nicked up, it's a question.
Rhett, how do you're around him every day, how's Jeremy coping?
He's been doing well. He's been doing well, and nobody likes to be in that situation, but I'm proud of how he's handling it right now. It's not easy. It's a lot harder than people really think for a young man, and he's doing a really good job. And his teammates are supporting him and helping him.
Rhett, just felt like that's like what you've seen out of the San Jose State defense.
A lot of similarities to last year as far as obviously same defensive staff, a lot of similar players, but I think they're better this year. Their back end's really long and athletic. They got 2 really good corners that are 6-foot-ish and can run, can cover, they're confident. They got really aggressive safety play, and they utilize them that way. I think after their starting middle linebacker, who's a very good player, their safeties are their next leading tacklers. So very active guys. They do a lot of stuff up front to try to give them an advantage. And Coach Robinson's a very sound and good coach, but I think they're an improved team from even what we saw last year.
Rhett, what do you like about Stanton Pruitt's increased role in the offense, especially on that jet sweep?
Well, just gives you an opportunity for more explosive plays. Stanton's got world-class speed. He's not the biggest guy, but if you can get him a crease, he's got a chance to pop it. The other night, the last guy just barely tripped him up, or it was a touchdown. And so, he's one of those guys that can be a one-play drive at any time, and so you like that.